Hi friends, it's Marilyn again from tarotclarity.com, and for those of you who didn't see my previous video, I'm finally in my new tarot parlor. Yay! So I'm back in business, and the sound's a little different, probably due to this like 20-foot ceiling. It's like kind of cavernous in here, but hopefully it sounds okay. Today's video is showcasing the Tarot de Ambiguites. I should have no business trying to pronounce French. This is the latest deck by Artisan Tarot in collaboration with Alejandro Rozan. And I believe Stephen Bright had something to do with the, had to do with the production of this as well. I got this a little late in the game. By the time I got it, I know, I saw on social media there were a few other people who had done videos, which I didn't watch because I do try to have my own, my own opinion. I try to do videos based on my own observation. So this video will not share any insights that anyone else, may have had. I do appreciate that Artisan Tarot always thinks of me and remembers me. And along with the deck, which I'm very excited and I'm looking forward to opening up, I was gifted a pair of their socks. And I bought 2 pair of their socks when they did the Noble Tarot deck. And I was happily surprised that the gift, they sent me this pair of socks from the Via and it's the devil, so I'm really excited about having received these. And then I also received some miscellaneous postcards, which I'll show when I flip the camera. So without further ado, let me flip the camera, and I'm going to call this by its American name, or its English pronunciation, Tarot of Ambiguites, because as I said, I really have no business trying to pronounce French names. So let's start by seeing what we have in the little package. And this is a card either from their Dodal or Noble. I want to say Dodal, but I don't know. I'd have to check. For those of you who would like to join the Discord chat room they have, scan is right there. But you could also go to this address. And this postcard has a few of their lectures. I also gave a lecture for them. But these are 4 other people who gave lectures. Enriquez Z. Manzilla, Alejandro Rozan, who is the creator of this deck, along with Stephen Bright, who is not, I don't think, credited on the deck itself, but he does have an affiliation with the deck. And these little postcards are fascinating. I'm not really sure. There's not any information on them. But the images seem to be pretty cool. And of course, with things like this, whenever I get like little postcards or whatever, I'll never use them as postcards. I'll either frame them or keep them safe. So this is sealed. Let me spare you having to endure me opening it. I'll go off camera for that. Alrighty then. Tarot of Ambiguites. And, from what I have seen on social media, it's in the fashion or the style of a traditional Tarot of Marseille, although quite different, maybe with a modern. Oh, yeah. It's got the Artisan Sublime cardstock linen finish. Let me read this. The Tarot of Ambiguites is, I can't read it without my glasses. Let me pause. Okay, the Tarot of Ambiguites is a reimagination of the Tarot of Marseille, faithful to its style and inspired by its symbolism. A vibrant narrative emerges from its evocative art, hand-drawn by Alejandro R Rozan in Cuba. Details of this original deck are explored in Tarot Shapeshifter, its guidebook written by Stephen Bright in the UK. Okay, so Stephen's association is that he wrote about it in a book. These powerful images were designed to enhance the invitation, I don't know that word, of seasoned readers and excite newcomers to the rich and evolving tarot tradition. So the Fool has a beast with a walking stick with the face of the Fool at the helm of the walking stick, and the Fool, or a jester, reaching for the beast, which is interesting. All the multiple hands and legs appearing here make it quite different than usual. We have dice, clearly delineated dice. We can clearly see it's dice. This sack or satchel looks like it's got an eye. You know, I haven't watched their videos on it. Oh, here's the backs, which are reminiscent of an old historic deck. It's not the same as any of them that I can familiarize myself with, but they're similar. I like how there's an irregularity, asymmetricality in a few of the pieces. Anyway, I hadn't read or watched any of the videos, but when I saw the title and I just saw a few of the pictures in, like, you know, Instagram kind of pictures, I was wondering if the ambiguities they reference are in how, you know, the Tarot of Marseille kind of got wonky. You know, I mean, there's so many peculiarities in many of the versions of Tarot of Marseille that, you know, if it expanded on that, you know, that we don't always know what we're looking at when we're looking at a TDM. The color is beautiful. Oh, she's barefoot. So the hem of her gown is scalloped. For the Empress. So the lover is nude here. With a blindfolded Eros or Cupid. And so we also have a scalloped curtain here. So it's kind of got hints of TDM style 1, which is usually referenced as an earlier, not necessarily, but an earlier style of Tarot of Marseille. And the embellishments of the sun and moon, which are typically on the epaulets of the charioteer, are drawn, you know, in our face rather than just on his shoulder. Her eyes are closed, I think, or they're almost closed. The details in the scales themselves, a man with something in his mouth. I don't know if that's like a heart. I don't know. She's got wings. Sometimes it's ambiguous whether it's the wings in the chairs of some of these figures, or if there's like, if they are wings or if they are chair backs. So here it really kind of looks like it's wings. Sometimes the Empress is also ambiguous. Yeah. Oh my. Okay, we have the Hermit. He's holding his head, who in turn, an arm oh wow, this is so strange. An arm is holding the lantern in the place of the head, and the other hand, he's got three hands, I guess, that we see. You know, this hand is holding the hermit's head, who in turn is holding the lantern in place of his head and is holding his walking stick. Wow. And the Wheel of Fortune, which is going in this direction. You know, you pay attention to the wheel's direction. Sometimes it goes in this direction, sometimes it goes in this direction. So, you know, you want to look to whatever's, you know, on this side in this particular, if you're using this deck, you want to see maybe what direction, you know, the wheel is turning towards, what card might be here. And likewise, what it's going away from. And in general, there's a lot of ambiguity in the Wheel of Fortune. You know, it's in, you know, traditional TDM, it's such a hodgepodge of stuff. And here it's got feet. Oh, so the beast and the woman have switched faces. I don't know that was ever an ambiguity in any other TDM that I've ever seen, you know, but it's an interesting switch. Here he's got a flower growing between his legs. He's being suspended by a hand rather than a rope. Oh, wow. Temperance. You know, if you ever look at Temperance and you think, you know, how she holds the vessels, and how could the water, you know, be accurately, you know, poured into the other vessel. Here it does a loop-de-loop in the infinity, the lemniscate shape. So it's like a magical reference to one liquid joining another. And Temperance also has wings, as does the Devil, but the Devil has bat-like wings, as do his minions, or its minions. Not too outrageously different with the Tower card, although this guy has wings. They both seem to have wings, but different types. Okay, the star's face is in the water, and the star itself is the face. You know, I don't know what they were going for there. But the star, I guess if the star is looking at its reflection, it sees more of a human face. than what it is. Maybe its own face would blind it too much. I don't know. The moon, which is interesting. The moon has a body and a scorpion on the bodice of the clothing. Now here we have a few different references. We have the children in a walled garden, but we also have the figure on a horse, which we see in some of the older decks. So there's a crossbreeding. Okay, then we have Judgment, or the Angel card, who does not seem to have a face, or if it does, I can't see it. And the World card. Okay, so now we're moving on to the pip cards. So we have the Ace of Swords. So there's an armored hand that's holding a severed arm. And the ends of the swords are holding the other sword, which is interesting. So here we have one hand. Oh no, we have two hands. We have two. I was wondering if the number of hands corresponded to the number of swords, but that's not the case. But here we have two, here we have three. Here we have four. Five. So far, the only one that's not accurate to the number is this one, which has a armored hand holding a severed hand. But so far, all of the hands match the number of swords. So here we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Well, and then there's a seventh. I'm not sure what's going on there. I'm not sure what that one is. But I wouldn't count on counting the hands. I would really just look at the number of swords. Here we have seven hands and 7 swords. 8. And 9. And so that looks accurate, with the exception of the ace. Okay, so here we have the valet, and he has multiple hands. Well, he has 2 hands, and then he has a hand on the sword, which is scratching his head. A miscellaneous hand over here. A hand at the end of this sword. I don't think in Tarot of Marseille, with all the ambiguities it has, that hands and swords were one of the things that were confusing. But that, like I said, I don't know if that's what they were building upon or not. That the addition of these hands could just be their own fun way, or Rozan's fun way of making it different. But here, his scepter, this is not a sword, his scepter has a hand. Okay, now for the Ace of Baton, we have a severed foot being held by a regular person's hand, not an armored hand. Looks like a piece of beef or ham. And instead of having hands, we have feet. Okay, so we have 1 foot, which matches the Ace of Batons. We have 2 feet. I'm guessing it'll go up 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8, 9, and 10. So I think if you like feet on your batons and your swords, hands on your swords, you'll be all right. So I don't know what Iambra means. Iamba. I don't know. I'll look up the word and put it down below. I didn't have the benefit of looking up the word before I started the video because I opened the package on video, right? So I didn't know that the names might have been different. Let me see. I just took for granted that the swords was going to be called. Yeah, I don't think there's any names on the swords. Oh, let me look for the quartz. Du Bras. So that's the of arms. Okay, King of Arms. I think brass is like arms, I think. And so, I don't know if that's French for foot. I don't know. Okay, heart. Or cups. So that's clearly a heart. 2 hearts. So we have an association between body parts and the suits. So what association you might have with swords and hands and batons and feet and hearts and cups is what I'm guessing. And here, my boyfriend that I call him, the Valet of Cups, which is called Hearts here, he is holding a hat. He does have a garland in his hair or one of those, I forget what it's called, like a garland in his hair or a wreath on his hair, flowers. And his cup is overflowing with things that bleed. So if you associate body parts with the pips, I think you'll definitely like this. Okay, coins. And we have a face, so coins must be associated with faces. Maybe the faces that appear on coins, maybe that's why they chose it. But they're severed heads maybe because they're bleeding. So it's an interesting deck. It's different. It almost seems like it could be authentic, except it's not like anything I've ever seen. It's definitely its own thing. And thank you for your purchase. May these cards inspire your readings. Visit our website and join our newsletter to learn more, to learn how to interpret these cards. ArtisanTarot.com. So I think since it references a lecture by Alejandro and Stephen Bright, that if you want to get more understanding of what Alejandro Rozan had in mind when he chose the imagery of these cards, plus what ambiguities he was referencing. I mean, I don't think that Tarot of Marseille, you know, they have a lot of peculiarities, and sometimes you can't tell what you're looking at. I don't think that they ever associated, or I don't think there was ever an indication that, you know, that any of the ambiguities would be body parts. But it might be helpful to you if you associate, if you think of the swords in reference to hands or batons, you know, to the feet, right? It might be another way to help you kind of understand or give new meaning to what it is you're looking at or what you're trying to interpret. The hearts for cups makes a lot of sense, you know, since we tend to associate cups with the emotions. Maybe it'll be helpful. So I hope you enjoyed this, you know, this video. And the cards themselves, let's talk about. There's like an aged process to them. They're not identical. So there is like some process by which the cards look like they might be naturally aged, but we know it's a modern deck. So it's aesthetically, I will say, aesthetically very pleasing to look at. And of course, it's artisan, so the card stock is sublime. Let's try to get a shuffle here. Yeah, nice shuffle. If you're a riffle shuffler, not bad. So until next time, friends, peace and stay well. And thank you for being here. Thank you.